Welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime. And today we're looking at Superman 124, The Super Sword. Or, I guess, the Black Knight's Super Sword. It's written by Jerry Coleman and art by Plastino. This was published in September 1958. So the Black Knight says, "On guard, Superman. When last we dueled, I wounded you. This time my magic sword will slay you." And Superman's looking pretty beat up. Superman needs no armor to ward off harm, for he is the man of steel, invulnerable to the mightiest blow, immune even to the terrible blast of an atomic explosion. Nothing can hurt him except, well, see for yourself. When you read this story in which the incredible occurs and the whole world is dumbfounded, observing the strange Black Knight wield the super sword. Oh, my arm, it's been stabbed. I'm no longer invulnerable. Now dost thou doubt the magic of my enchanted sword. So the story opens with Perry White going on vacation, and Lois is showing a headline: "Evidence collected by Superman puts Bull leader Bull Matthews behind bars." Okay, so it turns out that let me step back for a moment. We get a news flash that the body of a knight has been discovered trapped in a glacier floating in northern waters. So Superman flies out there. They ask Superman to go, and he busts through the ice and discovers that the knight is still alive. "I thank thee, sir, flying knight. The magic of your strength hath broken the spell of living death which Merlin entombed me in this goal of ice, 1,000 years past." So we get a little discussion about, whether he is actually the Black Knight of legend. But when he manages to escape, I guess, cutting through this steel, and then goes on a crime spree. Stealing from an armored car, a safe, cutting a police car. Meanwhile, the criminal from earlier, Bull, what's his name, Mathers or whatever, has gotten out of prison because the evidence against him was accidentally destroyed. And he's reading about the Black Knight and is kind of interested, but doesn't believe it's true. So finally, Superman faces off against the Black Knight. "Black Knight, I've found you at last. Put down that sword and come with me." And the Black Knight seems unimpressed, but Superman decides to show his invulnerability by smashing his head into a building that was scheduled for demolition, and they're thanking him. "You saved us a week's work." And the Black Knight still seems to be unimpressed. "Thou art rash indeed. Have at thee, sir." And so he stabs right in the arm. Now, Superman could have, I presume, avoided the stabbing, but did not believe the sword could actually hurt him. But it's some kind of trick. I'll smash that sword to pieces. But Superman's not looking too good. "Oh, I'm weak, can't stand." So they have to call in an ambulance and take him off. And the headline says, "Superman wounded by Black Knight. Police powerless against dread menace who ended legend of Man of Steel's invulnerability." So around the world, people are aghast. Even in Britain. "That bounder hurt Superman. He's a disgrace to British soil," because the Black Knight would be from Britain. Superman, despite being stabbed in the arm, he's got a sling, he's got a bandage, but he's also got a crutch. So, I don't know. That really must have done a number on him. Meanwhile, Bull Matthews contacts the Black Knight because he really wants that sword. "Well, what do you say, Black Knight? I'm an outlaw like yourself. I'll pay any price to borrow your sword for a few hours." So the Black Knight offers for £10,000 or $30,000 US. And Bull Matthews agrees to it. But, okay, so he's got the sword. Superman comes along. We see in the shadows he's like, oh no. Um, and then Bull Matthews stabs him. Oh, my arm. And now the end of Superman. So presumably he stabs him right through the chest. So I don't know if this is just too gruesome for the readers. So we see it in their shadows. You're a pal, Black Knight. Here's the money I promised you for lending me your magic sword. And the Black Knight says, I thank thee verily, thou art a dope. And Superman comes along looking perfectly fine. Surprised, eh? The Black Knight isn't from the past. He's a friend of mine who let me encase him in a specially insulated iceberg to play this trick on you. I only pretended his weapon wounded me. So he just decides to explain his whole plan. But why? I don't get it. Why did you want me to think it was a super sword? So Superman he was upset because the evidence against Bull Matthews was destroyed. So he comes up with this plan. I mean, boy, there's got to be easier ways to do it than this. But the whole point is to somehow get Bull Matthews to pay for something with those marked bills. And then he's got the evidence. So that is a whole lot of plan just to get that money. And I mean, I guess Superman could just go in there and take it. But I think there's probably other ways that he could have gone about getting that money from him. So in the finale here, Lois says, only one thing puzzles me. Who was the Black Knight? And the Black Knight comes along. Back to your menial chores as a lowly reporter, wench. Ye editor-in-chief hath returned. What? Perry White? Yeah, it's Perry White. Thou art right. When you take my advice, don't spend your vacation in a suit of armor. It's hot. Now, varlets, start jousting with those typewriters. You bet, Chief. I mean, Sir Chief. Clark thinks, Perry sure played his part well. And if I must say so, so did I. As Superman, I certainly put on a convincing act pretending to be wounded. Again, this is so crazy because he goes to so much effort just to get Bull Matthews to spend $30,000 so he can get marked bills. But I guess, these are the kind of stories where people get the impression that maybe the cover was created before the story, that somebody came up with a cover and then built a story around it. I don't think that's true, but you would get the impression. So anyway, that's the Super Sword from September 1958.